Good evening, ladies and gents. How are you guys doing? Happy
Oh, yes.
Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Namaste to you guys. We are here. Our show is live YouTube, live Facebook. This is Opinions. I am Ebony Nicole, and she is.
Elisa Matissa.
Yes, and we got a special guest on today. Super excited to just hear her story, learn some stuff, educate me, all the things
Yes.
that I want to know and learn. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Evita. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes, that is how you pronounce my name, Evita. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Let me turn this on. Let me see. Let me just put
Okay.
the chat on.
Do you see us on Facebook, right? Ebony?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta show the banner. Where's the banner? Okay, come on. Okay, show. Okay. Yes. So as I put up the banner, we are talking about open marriage today.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
open
Yes.
marriage.
Which is a
So the
hot
A
topic right
super
now.
topic.
Thank you, Will and Jada.
yes. But
Uh-huh.
I think people always want to find more out about it. Like people kind of like, oh, they like tread lightly on that topic, but to me it's interesting. I'm open-minded and learn and ready to learn.
Definitely. We was having a conversation last episode regarding Jada and Will, and we had a lot of our viewers in the chat room so intrigued and want to just learn, about the lifestyle and give us some input. Some things we don't know that we're not educated on. I would love to hear because I'm here for it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to introduce
Let's
her,
get
E?
right into it. Yes.
Yeah.
Vita, she has an open marriage, but she can tell us more about it because, I don't know a lot, but I know I saw like you got a husband, your husband has a girl, and you have a man.
Yes. So my husband and I have been married for 16 years, the last 7 of which have been non-monogamously. So we got married monogamously. And then in 2013, we started non-monogamy with swinging. And then through swinging, we opened up to actually being able to have like romantic and substantial relationships with people as opposed to just having recreational sex, which is what swinging is about.
Right.
And so currently my husband has a woman partner who he's been with for, it'll be 3 years in August. And I have a newer partner who I've been with now for, it'll be a year in December. So we just started dating, and I've had other partners throughout the time that we've been open. He's had other partners throughout the time that we've been open. And yeah, so our children know about it. Everyone in our family knows about it. We're super open about it. I actually am a non-monogamy and polyamory coach. So when people have issues as they're navigating the transition from opening up their relationship, or they're struggling with like how to operate in non-monogamy, I help coach people through the different struggles that they experience living non-monogamously. So yeah.
Right. And so,
Okay.
how long you said you guys were married?
We've been married for 16 years. We celebrated 16 years in March.
And what year did
So,
you
what
start?
year
Yeah.
did you decide to have an open marriage?
2013. And it's kind of funny because we didn't really like have a conversation about it to where it was like somebody came to the other person and was like, hey, I heard about this thing. Do you want to try it? We just had all these
Right.
little like incidents that kind of brought us to this place. So like on Valentine's Day, we went to the strip club, and I really didn't mind like watching him get a lap dance from someone else. It wasn't a big deal. And then, I found out through a friend of mine about this party, this like open lifestyle, like swinger party. And so we were like, hey, let's check this out. And at the
Right.
time, it was to explore my bisexuality because I'm bisexual. My husband is heterosexual, but I'm bisexual.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, well, I'm wanting to have these interactions with women, and haven't really had the chance to explore that. So we went to our first swinger party, and then we got connected to the swinger community, and we just found that a lot of these things that they tell us in monogamy, it's like, oh, like, you know what I mean? If your partner,
Right.
finds someone else attractive, or, they're interested in spending time with someone else, then that means that they don't love you, or, or they're not attracted to you, or, you know what I mean? Or something's
Right.
wrong with them. Like, when we began to kind of do these things, we were like, oh, this isn't true. Like, you know, so that's kind of, we had this moment where it's like, we're like, like, you know, we just began to question a lot of the things that we were told about romantic relationships. And a lot of people think that couples come into this because they weren't happy. So like we were trying to spice up our relationship. And I'm like, no, we were very happily married.
But wait, what year was it? You said 2013, but
2013.
But how many years does that make that y'all were married before you?
9. We were married for about 9 years.
Oh, y'all was together for a while. So there was no kids. It was very like monogamous. Like you said, it was nothing going on.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. We were completely monogamous. We did not have relationships with other people at all. Like we were doing nothing like this until we started.
But you didn't feel bored or anything. You didn't feel
no. We had a wonderful relationship. So we got along very well. Like we were like relationship goals, you know, everybody. So I think it was kind of a shocker to the people around us because they were like, they seem happy, but it wasn't about a lack of happiness in our relationship. We just were kind of like, yeah, we could be monogamous to each other and we are happy in this relationship, but why? Like that really is how I would describe it. It was like, but why? Like, you know, and as we began to explore other options, we were like, oh, like, you know what I mean? We don't have to be exclusive to one another to still love one another, to still enjoy our relationship with each other. You know, we just began to question a lot of these things that they tell us in monogamy is true about romantic relationships.
Right.
So when
there's no jealousy at all?
Oh, tons of jealousy. At least on my end.
Oh, okay. So there is jealousy.
Plenty. Okay. My husband is not a very jealous person. It's just not something that he experiences to a high degree. He's much more naturally adapted to polyamory, I think, than I am. I deal with actually quite a bit of jealousy. But the difference is you just learn how to navigate it. So like being able to live this way is not the absence of jealousy at all. It's just learning how to navigate it. So like, yeah, you know, if he goes out with someone else, not so much anymore because I've been doing it for like 7 years. I mean, I still experience it to a degree, but it's not as acute as it was when we first started. But yeah, like I do kind of feel, or I experience feeling a little like, you know, concerned that he might find someone more attractive than me, or, you know, maybe want to enjoy another relationship more than I do. But instead of making that about him and what he's doing, I make that about me and what I need to heal within myself so that I am secure in my own self and my own place in his life. And I'm not making it about, well, he needs to stop what he's doing with somebody else.
Gotcha.
Okay. So when you went from swinger to open, like just having separate relationships. So how did that how did that happen? Well,
so swinging was very fun for me. I have a super high sex drive. Probably the only issue that we had in our marriage is my husband and my sex drive is very incongruent. So he has a much lower drive than I do. And I am much more comfortable having recreational sex than he is. So he needs a lot more of an emotional connection to people in order to want to be sexual with them, and I don't. So swinging worked great for me, and I was enjoying it, but he struggled. And then one day we went to a swinger party, and this woman came in, and she came in with her boyfriend, and then like her husband came in later on, and they were all just sitting around like talking, laughing. And it like blew our minds. Like we were like, whoa, like, you know, like this is a thing that people can do. And it appealed to my husband more so than it appealed to me initially, because it allowed him the space to create those emotional bonds with people so that he can, you know, be able to have those interactions with them. And so that's how we transition into being polyamorous, because there's actually different forms of non-monogamy. So swinging is where you have recreational sex. Open relationship is where you might be okay having casual encounters with other people. So like say your ex comes into town and you're like, hey, I'm going to go and spend a night at their hotel, or you meet somebody at a bar and you go back to their apartment and stuff. But like, you're not developing like substantial relationships with people. And then you have polyamory, which is where you're actually able to develop substantial relationships with people. And
I never even heard that. What is it called?
I hear that all the time now. I've
never heard that.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, that's what I named it.
That's new.
So polyamory means multiple loving relationships. So you're developing multiple loving relationships. So like my husband, like I said, he's been with his partner for 3 years. They consider themselves like partners. Like, you know, she's on his life insurance, you know, that kind of thing. You have
wait a minute. So do your husband live with you, or does he take turns at your house, then her house?
He lives with me. She is what's called solo polyamorous, which means that she has no desire to marry anyone, have children with anyone, live with anybody. Like she doesn't want to do those things.
I saw that term, but I don't get it. Like, how can you be by yourself? Isn't that just, okay, I'm dating?
No. Like I said, she's been with him for 3 years. Like they've been in a relationship with each other for 3 years. Like they have a substantial relationship. I believe they consider themselves like partners. I don't ask them a whole bunch of questions about their relationships because it's their business. But I believe they consider themselves like partners. And so people that are solo polyamorous don't do traditional setups where they enmesh their lives with other people. You know what I mean? So they're entangling their finances. They're living with people. They're having joint accounts. Those kinds of things. They don't do those kinds of things. So they consider themselves their own primary relationship, but they still have long-term, committed, loving relationships. They still have like
basically
partnerships.
Sex, right?
No, not at all.
It sounds emotional. It sounds like a relationship.
No. It's very
Is
emotional.
he paying rent? Is he paying bills? Is he?
She doesn't want to have that with anybody. That's not something she wants to have with anyone. She doesn't want to have a life that's connected to people in that way, but they are very much emotionally connected to one another. They've been together for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like they rely on each other when they need emotional support. It is a very loving, substantial relationship. She just doesn't desire to have that kind of dynamic with anyone. She doesn't want to do that with anyone. She likes maintaining her autonomy in that way. So no, he doesn't live with her, but not because it's not an option were that to be something that they wanted, but she doesn't want that with anybody. So she has set her life up as such that she has no desire to live with any romantic partner. She doesn't want to do that. So he lives with me, but he goes and he visits her every few weeks. Obviously, COVID has slowed that down. And then my partner is married, so he has a wife that he lives with. And we see each other when we can. We schedule different visits, so we see each other probably once or twice a month. And that relationship is loving and committed. We have a loving relationship with each other. It's not just about sex. No.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Do you guys have any children?
I have children, yes. So I have 3 children with my husband. So none of our partners have children. No. But I have 3 children with my husband, and my children know we're out to our children. They've met our partners. They know who our partners are. They spent time with our partners. So our partners come to family functions. They've come to my kids' graduations. And so they're very well aware of the life we live. And we actually had a partner that we lived with for off and on for about 2 years. So when our first polyamorous relationship was a triad, we had a woman that we both were in a romantic relationship with. And she lived with us, and she was like a third parent to them. And so she lived with us for about 2 years before that relationship ended. So yes, our children are well aware of our lifestyle.
And they don't ask questions. What about the other kids? And like, it's not like.
At this point, we've been doing it for so long that I feel like it's normal for them. So like my sons were like 8 when we told them, and my daughter was like 5. So I don't even think they remember a time when we didn't live this way. Actually, no, my sons were younger. So they were like 5. Yeah, because they're 14 now. No, they were about 7. And my daughter was probably about 4. And so like, I don't even think that they remember a time when mom and dad didn't have other partners because it's been so long. So they were really, really little when we told them.
So all of you guys are cool. Like, how does it work? And like, do all of you guys go out as like dating or?
Occasionally. So I'm very cool with my husband's partner. I love her to pieces. She's amazing. Okay. Hold up, my daughter. Vivian, please. I'll talk to you about this later. So, my husband's partner, I have a very good relationship with her. When she comes into town, we hang out, we'll go to lunch together. Like, we send each other things in the mail. We've gone on outings, just the 2 of us. My husband and my partner, they're cool. Like, you know what I mean? So he's come to the house before, they've spent time together, but they don't really hang out. Not because that's not a thing, but my husband's not a very social person in general. So that's just not something he would do with anybody, regardless of who it was.
Gotcha.
But like they talk, like, you know what I mean? If he comes to see me, it's not like I have to like go outside and he interacts. Like I've gone to places before and left both my partners in the house. I've had a partner come on a family vacation with us, and we all like went camping together. So we do interact. It's not like this thing that we keep. And then I've had times where my husband has had partners that I just didn't care for and didn't really want to have a whole lot of interaction with. And I'm allowed that space also to be able to say, hey, I really just don't want to interact with this person that much.
Yeah.
And they're okay with you. Like, are they, like, I know you said a lot, the girlfriend is a poly solo.
Yeah, solo poly. Mm-hmm.
So all of them, do they have to be like, is it okay to be like a single person and they okay with like, be like without the terms, so like just being single, you know what I'm
There
saying?
are some people that are in polyamory that are just single and they hope to one day have a nesting partner and they want to get married and those kinds of things, but they want to do that polyamorously. So like they would marry someone, but they would marry someone with the added like, hey, we're going to be polyamorous even in our marriage. So there are
Right.
people that are just single and polyamorous. And then there are people that are solo poly, which is different. So yes, there are just single people. But yeah, she knows, she
And
hangs
do
out
you
with
think they
men
ever
because she's
try to
comfortable with
compete
me.
with you? Like, do you ever think they try to take your husband? Like, listen, I want you
No,
to
no,
end
no, no.
it.
I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It's never been my
Right.
experience. So it does happen, but I've never had that experience with any of my husband's partners. Even the first partner that we had, I wouldn't say that. So no. Usually, when you're dating, like they don't need to. So if you're dating polyamorous people that want to live this way, they don't need to take your partner. Like that's just not something
Oh,
that
I get it. Yeah.
anyone's trying to do. That would
Yeah.
be like me wanting to take my partner from his wife. Why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need him to end that relationship in order to have a relationship with me because I'm not looking for monogamy. So it's okay for him to have
Right.
multiple partners. You know what I mean? There's no need to kind of do that. So most of the time, if you're dating non-monogamous and polyamorous people, like the last thing they want is a monogamous relationship. So they're not trying to take your partner for them because
Right.
you know what I mean? Why? It's not necessary. It's not something that needs to be
So
done.
say one day your husband wakes up one morning and says, listen, this is not for me no more. I only want you. I don't want us seeing no one else. Like, I just want you. Would you change your living arrangements? Would you change for your husband, or is this your life?
This is pretty much who I am. So I think in that instance, I'd probably be like, so I don't allow anyone to dictate for me who I romantically relate to and how. And so my response to that would probably be something along the lines of, well, if you want to live monogamously, then you be monogamous. Like, so you can be with just me and that's fine.
I'm gonna do
And you
me.
don't have to have other relationships if you don't want to. But I am
Right.
going to continue to live non-monogamously. But my husband is actually way more non-monogamous than I am, and so
Really?
like I could see that. Actually, I don't really see that ever coming from me, but like I don't see that being a scenario like
Coming from him.
ever. No,
Yeah.
I don't see that ever coming from him. He's very much so like this is who he is.
Gotcha.
And so yes, I seriously doubt that would happen. But I mean, if it did, then the answer to that would be, well, you go ahead and be monogamous, on your
Yeah.
own, and you don't have to have other relationships. But I'm going to continue to have the freedom to connect to people how I want to, because that really
Right.
is what it's about for me. Is just being able to make my own choices for who becomes what to me, and not have that
Right.
dictated by some arbitrary rule in the air, that
Right.
has no basis in reality. So the
What would
reality
you
is,
say is one disadvantage of the lifestyle?
um disadvantage.
Yeah.
Sometimes finding partners is hard because most of the world is monogamous. So I
Right.
think that a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about what it is. I mean, I don't really care about that because I don't really care about like people's opinions about how I live. So you can feel how I want about how I live. I'm still gonna be over here doing me.
Gotcha.
But people do have a lot of misconceptions about what it is, and so sometimes that gets frustrating.
Definitely.
So like when you're dating, sometimes like I remember, being a married woman and dating is a challenge because a lot of men kind of go, okay, well, you have a husband, so why do I need to like go out with you? Like, you know what I mean? Or why do I need to like give you, emotions or anything like that? Like, you
Right.
already have somebody
Attention.
for that. Right, exactly.
Right.
Like you're just trying to smash. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like I'm actually trying to have like, actual, interactions that are more
Right.
than just we're sleeping together. But a lot of men don't really understand that, especially if you're dealing with, like I said, monogamous men and not necessarily men in the polyamorous community.
Gotcha.
Because they're kind of like, well, you have a husband for all that, so I'm just here to be the side penis. And I'm
Right.
like, no, you're
But I'm
not.
sure I would think that you would get some men that don't want to establish an emotional relationship with you, and that'll be up their alley. Like, yeah, she's married. It's
That's
all
what I
about
would
just,
think. You would
you
think
know,
so.
Mm-hmm.
No,
no,
no, actually not. You would think so. I would
wow,
think I would like, hey, like I feel like I would work for like someone who's like a confirmed bachelor, because they don't want to get married you don't have to worry about that with me because I'm already married to somebody else. Like, but there's something about the fact that I have another man, like that makes like puts this like weird thing in their brain where they like can't connect to me because it's like, well, you have someone else. And so that can be kind of a struggle. And then too, it's challenging, so you're challenging a lot of these very deep-seated ideas about relationships and love and what that says about you and what that says about your partner. And unless you're you like that kind of work, because polyamory is very much, and non-monogamy is very much an internal work. It's a lot of internal processing. It's a lot of bringing forward your feelings about yourself and your insecurities and having to deal with those things. And if you're just a person that doesn't enjoy that kind of stuff, like I do, you can have a really hard time. And even as a person who does enjoy that stuff, it can still be challenging to where I'm like, oh my God, like I just don't want to grow anymore. Like I'm like, enough growth. But I wouldn't live any other way. Like I absolutely, this is probably the most authentic I've ever felt in my life. And even if my relationship with my husband were to end, I would not look for a monogamous relationship after this. Like I just wouldn't do it.
Gotcha. And then what about your man? So how is he? Like, what does he provide for you? Like emotional? Like I know you said, is it mostly sexual? Because I know you said your husband is just mostly emotional with his partner.
No, his emotional, it's a full relationship. So it's emotions and sex. Like we go to each other when we need support. You know what I mean? I can call my partner up and go, hey, I'm having a hard day. Can you listen to me vent? And we do that. We support each other through things. We help each other out. If he was like, hey, can you come and pick me up because my car broke down? I'd go get him, and the same thing. So they're full relationships. So any dating relationship, any, boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, any partnership that you can think of, that's what we have with our partners. And we may not have that with all of our partners. I may have some partners that are just casual. I may have some partners that are very, very deep connections. I may have some partners that are kind of in between. And so, the basic thing is I can't have what I want with the people I want to have them with. So I've had times where I just had fuck buddies, you know what I mean? Somebody that I just got together with and all we did was, have sex, and we might hang out and go to the movies or something and chill, and then we go and then we go back to our lives. But, my relationship with my relationship with my husband obviously isn't that way. And then my relationship with my other partner isn't that way at all. We love one another. Like, we exchange, I love you. We talk every day. We're invested in each other's lives, maybe not like financially in a financial sense, because we don't want that with each other. But, we care about what happens to the other person. And it's not just like, oh, well, we get together, we have some fun. And then, we kind of don't really interact outside of that.
And you said that the relationship between your husband and your man, that's healthy, it's good. Like, are they how you and his girlfriend are? I know you said like you love her.
It's not the same but it's just because that's not who my husband is. Like he's not a social person. So he doesn't have a lot of friends. He's not a person who interacts with a lot of people. He's very much an introvert. He's extremely quiet, very reserved. Yeah, so it's not because they couldn't have that. My husband just doesn't really try to have that with anybody. Like, you know what I mean? That's just not the way he is. But like they talk, you know what I mean? Like I said, they spent time together when I wasn't around. I think one time my partner came over and he stayed the night at our place, and I had somewhere I had to go. I had something I had to do. And so I left him here with my husband, and they hung out and talked and, chit-chat.
So he spent the night often?
Not often, but he has. He spent the night at my house before, yes. And his partner, when she comes into town, because she lives about 9 hours away. So when she comes into town, she stays in the house, and, we all hang out. And sometimes she'll get a hotel room for one night, and then she'll spend a night at the other house. We've all slept in the bed together. We didn't do anything sexual because she's straight. But, we've all slept in the same bed together, and you know what I mean? And
so she's straight, but she's good straight with you guys' relationship.
Yeah. So she's straight. So she and I don't have a sexual relationship at all. Like our relationship is friendly. So we're friends. We care about one another. That's it. But we don't have a sexual relationship because she's straight. Yeah, she's not into women at all. So, and then, like I said, my husband is heterosexual. So him and my partner don't have any sexual interactions at all. So, so it's just friendship, just platonic. Our interaction.
What do you say to the people that judge the lifestyle? There's a lot of people out there, talks of, why you got to share. I want one person. And what will you tell that person that's judging the lifestyle? Like, what are some of the benefits to the lifestyle? I know a lot of people say that, it's family. It takes a village to raise the family. So it's, a lot of times the wives or the husband gets together, they raise kids together. What would you say to those people?
mind their business. Like, I'm not like, I have no
Mind your
desire.
business.
Right. I have no desire to change people's minds about it. Like, if it's not for
Right.
you, it's not for you. So if you're judging it and you don't see a merit in it, then don't do it. But like for
Right.
the rest of us that are out here living it, I'm gonna be out here living my best black ass
Live it
life,
up.
loving my people. And so I'm not one of those kinds of people that like try to get people to see it any different way than the way they see it. You can see it however you want
Right.
to see it. I'm still gonna live
Right.
my life. It works for me. It feels good. I
Exactly.
know tons and tons and tons and tons of people. Like pretty much my entire community is non-monogamous. I almost like I to the point where I can count the amount of monogamous friends I have on one hand because all of my friends are non-monogamous. We love living this way. It has a variety. Ask 10 non-monogamous people what the benefits are, and you're going to get a multitude of answers. For me,
Right.
myself personally, the biggest benefit of it is self-discovery and the freedom. I am free to have the connections with people that I genuinely experience with them, not having to like pretend that some feelings aren't there because we can't do this with each other because I have someone else. So if you think about
Right.
it, romantic love is the only form of love that we do this with. When people have children, you have one child and then you have a second child, they don't say, okay, well, now you got to get rid of the first child because you can only love one child. We don't do that in family. We're like, you can only love one parent. If you make a friend and then you make a new friend, well, you got to get rid of the first friend because you made a new friend. We don't do that with any other form of love that we have in relationships, but we do it with romantic love. And
So
my
you think?
question
Oh,
is
I'm
why?
sorry. That's
No,
what
go
I was
ahead.
going to ask you because I was saying last week, and I'll show that I took a psychology class and we were studying different religions, and they were saying how some religions feel like it's healthy because that's the way you're supposed to raise a child. Like it's like a village, everyone's chipping in, and it's like psychologically healthy. So I'm wondering, do you think it's like you were just saying, like, do you think it's more natural to be monogamous or to be polyamorous? Like,
I don't see it as a thing of naturalness because I feel like human beings exist on a spectrum. Like everything in life is a spectrum. So I think it's natural for some people to be monogamous, and I've known people that are naturally monogamous, and I think it's natural for some people to be polyamorous, and then people kind of fall in between those two polarities. So some people are way, way, way over to the polyamorous, and some people are kind of in the middle, and some people are way, way, way on the monogamous. And so I don't think that you can generalize human beings in that way. So for some people, it makes sense to them and it's natural for them. For some people, it's not. And you just find your folks, you know what I mean? So, you find your monogamous
Right.
people and you have that with, so there are some people that would say that monogamy is a much better setup for raising children and having a family. And there are some people that would say that polyamory and non-monogamy is a much better setup. And I think that it takes a multitude of ways to raise human beings, and there's a variety of ways to be a good parent and a variety of ways to provide healthy environments for children, and neither one is more or less valid than the other. They're just different.
Yeah.
okay, so is there any limitations like where you say to your husband, like, listen, we have an agreement that you can't cross this boundary, and
No.
that there's nothing, everything is just like,
He can pretty much do what he wants to with his partners. The only like agreement that I would say is just to make sure that you're practicing safe sex,
oh, okay,
because
that's
that is something that can actually affect me. But even then,
Definitely.
like, I don't create boundaries around like what he does, with regards to that. It's more like, okay, let me know what you're doing so that I can make choices for my own health. If I need to utilize barriers because of how you're interacting with other people, you know what I mean? Make sure you're getting tested, that you're
Right.
asking your partners for being tested, those kinds of things. But like outside of that, like I don't have any rules like, okay, well, you can't do this with anybody or you can't do this with anyone. Like, no, we don't have anything like that in our relationship. No.
so do you come to each other with it like problems like how friends do, like if he's annoyed with her or something, they have some kind of breakdown of communication, does he come to you or do you go to him when you have an issue in your relationship?
Kind of, but not really. Simply because we like to allow our partners their privacy in their relationships with us. So I don't do a whole lot of prying about what's going on in his relationship with her. So we might, mention some things to each other because, we've been married for 16 years. We live together.
Yeah.
There are things about our other relationships that we do have to discuss. But we do try to tread very lightly on like making sure that we are respecting the privacy of our partners with each other, because there are very much things that his partner may not want me to know about, their interactions with one another. And I want to respect that because, she deserves to have privacy in her relationship with him. And the same thing for my partners too. So we don't do a whole lot of like dishing to each other about, you know, our other partnerships. And the same thing, I don't really do that with my other partners, you know, with my relationship with him. I mean, I may discuss some things, but, and I'm much more talkative and more vocal than he is. My husband's very private. So he just doesn't do a whole lot of sharing in general. That's just not the way he is. But you know, we do discuss some things, but we're also very, very, very much proponents of really, really, really being intentional about upholding the privacy and having our partners feel like they have privacy in their relationship with us.
Yeah. Okay, and you guys do you swing anymore? You don't do the swinging thing anymore?
Occasionally, sometimes if I feel like going to a party or I get invited to something, I might go.
But not within each other, not within you guys, all you guys' relationships. There's no.
We can. We just haven't. That's not that we wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, if I wanted to go to a swinger party with my partner, I could. I know my partner has been to. I know my husband has been to a play party once with one of his partners. So like I've been to kink parties with my partner. So we can do those things with other people and with each other. We just haven't. Like we just don't. So it depends. Yeah.
And do you think it in like as far as like his relationship and your relationship with your partners, does it enhance like the sex life? Like has it made it spicier? Like does he come home and it's like, wait, you got a new move or something? Like I'm wondering.
No.
Where'd you get this from?
Last week?
No.
Where'd you learn this?
No, our sexual lives with our partners are very individual, fulfilling, but very individual. And I have not noticed a change in our sex life with regards to his interactions with other people. And there may be things that I'm like, oh, I did this with this person and I liked it, you know what I mean? And I might, you know, try to introduce it into our sex life or vice versa. But no, like, there would not even really be any way for us to really know that. Because like I said, we don't do a lot of like talking about those things in our relationship with each other. So I don't like, you know, we don't talk about our sex lives. I don't, you know, ask them, what do you do with her? What do you
No, I'm wondering if the behavior, like, has it enhanced?
I haven't noticed anything. No, I haven't noticed anything. So my husband's pretty much the same person that he was sexually, and so am I. So I haven't noticed that, like, you know, our sex life with others have improved or like not improved our relationship with each other. Like they're their own separate entities.
So somebody asked,
what if one of your partners asks, say what your partner, he don't have any children, and he asks you to, you know, carry his baby. Is that something that's off limits?
No, it's not actually. No. If I wanted to, and we actually, our first partner that we had, the plan was for her to have a child, but it just, you know, the relationship broke up before that. But I just have no desire to have any more kids. Period. I'm fixed. So like, I just don't want children anymore. I have 3 children. I'm fine. But were that to not be the case, and I wanted to have his child, then no, that would not be off limits.
Gotcha. But would you have that discussion with your husband though?
Yeah. I'd obviously have that discussion, but it wouldn't be a discussion of like hey, I want to do this thing. Can I? Will you sanction it? It's like, hey, this is something that we're discussing. I need to let you know that this is something that, you know, we may potentially be doing. And then we have a conversation around how he wants to engage with that. You know what I mean? But it wouldn't be like a permission. It's my body. It's my womb, you know, and I'm allowed to do what I want to do with it.
Okay.
You want to read some of the chats, E? I see you reading.
Yeah, Omar said, he said, is your partner a woman? She said that her partner is a man. So
yeah, my other partner is a man. I can have partnerships with women and have. That's just not what I have going on right now.
Okay, and then Steven said that it complicates the natural order of things. That's what my question was. Like, is that really the natural order? What is the natural order?
Right. What is the natural order of humanity? Like, I was like,
that's what I'm thinking. I mean, but I just think jealousy, to me, I feel like the jealousy would be the big, like, I admire like being able to do that, but I don't know.
You can hear me.
I don't think I could do it, like, as far as like,
hang on, sorry,
being able to
a lifestyle.
Yeah, as a lifestyle. Like, to me, it would be okay. Like, I'm like, okay, if this person doesn't satisfy your needs, like, you know, everyone has their own personality. So it's like, you know, he may be we're not perfect. He may lack in one area, and I may find that characteristic in someone else. So it's like, why? It just sounds so great to me. Like, but I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people say. A lot of people go, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. But, you know, it's not the absence of, you just learn how to deal with it. You learn how to deal with the emotion of jealousy. And the constructs of monogamy are set up so that you don't experience jealousy. So, like, you know, your partners are not supposed to have friends of the opposite sex if you're in a heterosexual relationship. You know, they don't hang out with their exes. You know, we set up monogamy in such a way so that you're not dealing with jealousy. So a lot of people just don't know how to navigate it. And so you get into polyamory and now it's like right in your face and you're having to deal with it and you just learn how to navigate it. So now when I'm feeling jealous, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm feeling jealous. What's for dinner? It's just an emotion. Like, you know, it really is. It's like people make it out this horrible emotion.
You think you handle jealousy easily now than when you first started the lifestyle?
Much better. When I first started, it was nothing nice. So I've had some pretty, so like my husband, when we first started, he used condoms with his partner, the partner that we had at the time, you know, to prevent pregnancy and whatnot. And when I would get jealous, I would go in his room and I'd rip them up, like, and I would just take them, and I'd shred them all up, you know, whatever. And now looking back on that, I'm like, I can't believe I did that, you know, because now I would just be like, hey guys, like I'm kind of feeling a little jealous right now, and can we talk about it? Right. You know what I mean? And then we'll have a conversation about it, and then it's over with. You know, but before, when I first started, it was really hard because I had a lot of jealousy. But I'm happy that it enabled me to learn how to deal with it, because I'm a much more emotionally mature, a much more self-contained person than I was when we first started this journey, because, you know, I just didn't know how to handle my emotions. Now I can have constructive conversations about them. I can, you know, talk to my partners and say, hey, this is what's going on. And I'm not, you know, struggling and having all these like really like unhealthy responses to my emotions as I used to when I first got started.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you think there's a lot of young girls out there, young women out there that it's suffering trying to come out? They have these feelings that they want to try, or they're in marriages where they want to try this open marriage thing, but they're embarrassed.
I think there's that. I also think that people just don't know that there are other options. I think it's more that too. Like people aren't aware that there are options. Like I didn't know that this was a thing until I saw it, you know, and then I was like, oh wow, like this is actually something that you can do. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm so open and I'm so vocal about it, because, you know, I get that where people come and go, wow, like, you know what I mean? I've always known. And don't it work for
you? Because even if you're married, you don't got to go out there and cheat, because you guys have this open relationship. If you want something new, you talk to your partner and you guys are allowed to do. But in these marriages, everybody's cheating because they don't want to have these conversations with their partners.
Right. Correct? They don't want to have these conversations. And even if you don't decide to do anything with someone else, just being able to say, hey, I had this feeling, you know, and talk about it. You know, we don't even encourage people being honest about those things because we judge it so much as like, oh my gosh, you know, you're a terrible person if you felt anything else for anybody else. And it's like, but that's human. You know, it's human to like, it's not like you marry somebody and then your eyes turn off. Like, you know what I mean? And your heart turns off and you're never going to meet another person that you connect with in this way. Like, of course you are.
Right.
So, and it's much more healthy to be able to have an open dialogue about it, even if you end up just going, okay, well, now I know this, but we don't do anything about it. Then, you know, kind of trying to stifle it and stuff it down and act like it doesn't exist. Because usually what ends up happening is, you know, a person ends up kind of acting on that impulse, and because they don't know that there's any other option available to them.
Right.
So I like having the ability to not have to like hide this part of myself, right? Or like sneak around, you know, because I've always struggled with monogamy, you know, even before my husband, you know, monogamy was just always a struggle for me. Really? But I just didn't know. Yeah, I just didn't know. So I've cheated on multiple partners. Like, you know, I just didn't know that there were other choices. So now
people are living that choices right now. They got it in them, but they don't know what it's called.
I'm wondering if this
you can't be faithful to your partner. It's not. Do you call it a bad thing, or do you have what? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Is that bad, or is it something that you can't control?
I don't know that it's necessarily bad or good or something that you can't control. I just think we're human. So I think that you can control because people do it every day. And, you know, I think you can control that impulse. And if you make the choice to control it, you and your partner, and that's what you agree to, that's fine. But there are some people that don't want to have to do that. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't think it's a good or a bad thing. I just think it's, you know, it's different strokes for different folks.
I'm wondering, I think that's going to cut down on divorce. Like, do you ever see, like, you know how when I watched Will and Jada, and she's like, I don't care if he's over there with somebody, I'm over there with somebody, but we in this for life. Like, we're life partners. We're never going to get a divorce. Is that how you see it? Like,
so I've known of multiple polyamorous couples that have gotten divorces. That is a thing that does happen.
Really?
Yeah, it does actually. Just because whatever they want out of life is no longer congruent. And so they've decided to, you know, that they need to end their relationship. What I do see in the non-monogamous community that I don't see as much in the monogamous community is that relationships end a lot more peacefully in the non-monogamous community than they do in the monogamous community, because people usually approach that space from a much more conscious place in non-monogamy, I feel like, than they do in monogamy. So there's not this like bitterness about the relationship ending. I think polyamorous and non-monogamous people are a lot more accepting of the fact that all relationships end, that you can't hold on to them all forever, and that it's okay when a relationship has to change and move to a different space in order for it to serve the people that are in the relationship. So relationship structures are meant to serve the people in the relationship, and when the people are no longer being served, then it you know, you have to change the structure. And I think that, you know, the non-monogamous community is a lot more comfortable with that than the monogamous community is, because for monogamy, success in a relationship means forever. And so anything outside of forever is a lack of success. Whereas in polyamory, we don't see it that way. We don't see success in a relationship as we were able to make it last forever. Success in a relationship was, did you enjoy it? Did you grow? Did you learn something? You know, for the time that you guys were together, was it healthy? You know what I mean? And so like, I think like, it doesn't mean that, you know, it cures divorce. I just think it makes divorce a little bit easier to deal with, because number one, you're not going, well, I'm just never going to be able to have someone again. Like, you're like, usually, you know, you'd have more of a support system around that. And then also, I just find that non-monogamous people, they approach relationship ending from a much more conscious place. And so you don't see a lot of the bitterness that you see in the monogamous world when divorces happen.
Interesting. Yeah. So what do you think about the Will and Jada thing? Do you think is that considered open? Like, because I don't think they're admitting to anything. Like, it seemed like they just had a separation, but it's not really an open marriage. Like, I don't feel like everybody's acting like it was declared an open marriage. To me, that wasn't open, because she's basically saying they separated, she had a relationship.
Honestly, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it. And the reason why is because I'm like, they grown, like, you know what I mean? They live in their life. Like, I'm too busy trying to get my own love life together. So like, I like literally have not like paid any attention to it outside of like the different things that I've seen people posting. But I the obsession that people have with the bedrooms of celebrities is very, very odd to me. So like, it's extremely odd. So even when August first came out, like, and he talked about it, I was like, okay, like, you know, and then that was kind of it for me, because I was like, all right, like, you know what I mean? I'm not sleeping with Jada, so I don't care who she's sleeping with.
But I can say I'm not obsessed with that, but I feel like sometimes it can be relatable. And I think that's what people's obsession is about.
I think it's opening a lot more of a dialogue around relationships, which is healthy. And I do appreciate that. But me, myself personally, like, that's my life. Like, these are conversations I'm already having all the time. So it wasn't newsworthy to me. Like, I was just like, okay, you know, then that was kind of it. So what's actually more newsworthy to me is all of the hoopla around it. I'm just like, wow, like, people are really, really invested in this. And that's actually what I find more strange than what is going on between them. Because I mean, I think even a couple of years ago, or a few years ago, I remember headlines about Jada and I think like Mark Anthony or something like that. I don't know if you guys remember, like way back when they were talking about that. So this has always kind of been.
Yeah, it's always been, but it's nothing been like confirmed. So to me, it's like nothing new happened to me.
I think it would be, if they do have an open relationship, I would love for them to be open about that, simply because it would normalize it a little bit. because I'm pretty sure they're not the only couple in Hollywood that are doing these kinds of things. But also, it really is nobody's business, and they don't have to be open about it. Like, you know what I mean? So, because it really is nobody's business. I choose to be open about it because that's how I want to live. But they don't have to live that way if they don't want to, and it really is nobody. And they can absolutely tell everyone, mind your business, and
that's
they
what
will
I
be
said
well
last
within their right.
I was like, to each his own. If they want to have an open relationship, kudos to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are we to judge? You know?
And you're a counselor. You're a polyamorous counselor.
A coach, yeah. So people come to me generally when they have issues with their non-monogamy and they're struggling with jealousy, or they have some, thing going on with their partner that they don't really know how to navigate, and it's difficult, and they want to, kind of get an objective person to talk about, because a lot of people, they don't even have people that they can go to about non-monogamy stuff because all their friends are monogamous. And so when they talk to a person and they say, oh, I'm going through this with my partner, the person is usually like, well, I don't even know why you're doing that in the first place, and why you got to be monogamous, and blah, 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 and that stuff don't work, and blah, 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 and it's going to ruin your relationship. And it's very hard for somebody to hear that if they're going through something emotionally or struggling. So I provide that voice where someone can come and say, hey, my partner's out on a date, and I'm really struggling with this, and can you help me kind of talk myself down? And so that's kind of what I do.
Okay, so it's not really like, say if I'm a single monogamous person and I want to explore, or either my man is cheating on me and I want to now, like, I wonder, does it transition? Like, if my man is cheating on me, like,
sometimes
should I consider, oh, okay, maybe I'll just stick with him and just explore.
Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes that does happen. I've definitely heard of situations where a person was unfaithful. And then through that unfaithfulness, they began to have a conversation about, well, I don't want to stop seeing this person, but I still love you and still want to be with you. And I'm discovering that I'm non-monogamous. And the people make a choice to continue on in a relationship and explore non-monogamy. I don't feel like that's the best launching point, simply because non-monogamy is a huge trust exercise, and you're starting it from a space of having a breach of trust, which is challenging. But it does happen. It does happen. And people do navigate that space and make that work. So it does occur. And so, yeah, like if someone came to me and said, hey, my partner cheated on me, and but through this cheating on me, they're wanting to explore an open relationship, and I don't want to lose my partner, and so I want to open myself up to this. Can you help me with that? That would also be something that I would do too.
Interesting. I'm wondering if that's the secret. That might be the secret to a long-lasting relationship, marriage, and relationship.
It's possible, but I mean, I know lots of people that are married monogamously and they stay together for 20. So like my aunt, and then too, we don't really know like what people have going on in their relationships. Like you don't know. So I don't know that I would say it's the secret to a lasting relationship.
I would love to see the statistics, like, on it, like, as far as like poly relationships, open marriages, and monogamous relationships. Like, does the marriages last longer in a non-monogamous relationship marriage? I'm wondering what works. I don't think I could do it. I'm just wondering.
I don't think there's enough data right now, because it's still, people being open about it is still so new.
I think so my ego is too much.
It, but yeah, but I don't know that I would say
they'll leave you.
I think I feel like it's pretty much the same. Like I feel like it's just relationships. So some stay together, some don't. So I don't think there's a formula that we can like. I
think it's a connection between whoever. It's definitely the connection and who you vibe with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then connections, they change. So people that were your people at one point become no longer your people. I always say you walk together until you can no more. So and that's kind of how I try to see my relationships, is like, so for right now in this state in time, the people that I have, we're walking together and we're enjoying that, and we're going to continue to do that until that's no longer true. So and I'm gonna do my best to accept both of those places from a place of peace and a desire for both my partners to be healthy and to live lives that they're happy and fulfilled with, and also the same thing for myself.
That sounds so peaceful. Nice. I'm all about like a peaceful, happy
life. Too.
And it just sounds like so stressed. Like the quality of life just seems to me
stress free. right?
It has stress. They're just different. And a lot of dealing with polyamory and non-monogamy. Like I think I read it in a book. I mean, it was a conjecture, but they said like 90% of polyamory is just making good choices about your partner selection. So I've
Mm-hmm.
been fortunate enough throughout the years that I've made good partner choices. And so that cuts down on a lot of the stress because you're not dealing with, people that you're probably not suited for, or your
Right.
situations are not suited for each other. And so I'm fortunate enough that, my partner has a partner who's, a decent human being, who, comes to this lifestyle wanting to work on herself and being, um, uh, she cares about everybody. So she doesn't just care about him. She cares about me too. I can say the same thing
Nice.
about her. My partner can say the same thing about, my husband, so, we have decent people in our, what we call a polycule right now. And so because of
Nice.
that, my polyamorous life right now is very peaceful. It's not entirely without issues. We have our problems and they do come up. But for the most
Yeah.
part, even in those instances, we handle those peaceably. Because we're all kind of committed to adding to each other's lives and being an asset to each other's lives and not a liability. And I feel like I can say that about everybody, that I'm
Right.
connected to right now. My partner, his partners, their partners, So
Right.
and
But
so
it
right
seems
now it
it seems
works.
like you're at peace with everything. Like I'm not talking about them. Like it just seems like you have it so like mentally, like I don't know, you just seem to be at peace with like, and you able to navigate this world like a pro. Like I
It
just feel like
takes a lot of I've done a lot of self-work, so it takes a lot of self-work. I always tell people that the number one benefit for polyamory for me is the self-discovery. And like I got into this thinking that I was going to become intimate with more people, but actually who I became more intimate with is myself. So I've learned so
Mm,
much more about myself.
good
I've
stuff.
learned so much more of the ways in which I needed to grow. I've done a lot of emotional growth. I've done a lot of
Good stuff.
spiritual growth in this work. And so now it's gotten me to a place where I'm a much more self-contained person. And you do kind of need that in order to navigate this peacefully, because you're going to be dealing with your insecurities. You're going to be dealing with your jealousies. You're going to be dealing with your envies. You're going to be dealing with feeling threatened by a new person. All of those things are things that you're going to
Yeah.
have to deal with. And so it causes you to have to go a lot deeper in your work of believing that you are enough for you. And that's really what I strive to to to
Start
to
talking to you.
to learn is I am enough for myself. I am the
Mm,
person who's supposed to give myself the most amount of love, the most amount of
yeah.
validation, the most amount of affirmation, and everybody else in my life is just an added bonus. And so that's really,
That's so
really
good.
what, yeah, that's
So
really
good.
what work it calls you to is really getting yourself to a place to where you are secure in you. And in
Definitely.
doing so, you become just much more secure in life in general. So it's touched so many other areas of relationships outside of my romantic relationships. I feel like I'm a better friend. I feel like I'm a better daughter. I feel like I'm a better employee because
Yeah.
it's shown me how to have much more authentic relationships with people, much healthier relationships with people where I respect people's boundaries, where I'm not having a sense of entitlement with the people that I interact with, where I'm not feeling like my feelings should control what they do. And so it's just kind of bled into all of the areas of my life in living this way.
yeah,
So
that's
my last
great.
question for you is, we were talking about this last episode. I think you were saying, E, that, sometimes as women, we are not satisfied. Like, the men would say we're never satisfied with nothing. And so one man will probably give you good sex. Another man maybe give you good conversation and, different things. Do you think having multiple partners, and in your case too, you get a set of that, something that he gives you, and then somebody else gives you something else that he don't give you?
I mean, there are definitely things that my partners show up to individually that, they don't exist with each other. But I don't look at my partners as like, well, I don't get that from you, so I'm gonna get that from this person. My
Gotcha.
relationships, they are unique in their own right, but I
Okay.
do make sure that they still are fulfilling overall. So like it's not like I'm looking at and going, okay, well, I can get that for you, so I'm gonna go over here and get it from this guy. Like I don't see it that way. I connect with who I connect with. They're all
Gotcha.
important to me. And I don't have this expectation. I'm sort of kind of going to kind of build a perfect partner by mashing together all of these individual people until all of my needs are being met by all of these different people. Like, I don't see it that way. It's like, I connect with this person.
Gotcha.
We have a good relationship with each other. Yeah, there are definitely things that I don't get from this person, but I mean, that's going to be true if I had 2 relationships or 20. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like, you know, there's just no way. I think I approach my relationships going, the number one person that should be meeting all of my needs is me. So like, that's how I move through my relationships. And I just go, you know what?
That right there.
Yeah, that's
really what it really is at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, that's some therapeutic advice right there.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm working on me.
Right. Yeah. The number one person I task to meeting all of my needs is me. And then everybody else that comes along, and I'm like, oh, you want to meet some of these needs? Great. Because even if you had 30 partners, you're going to find yourself in a space where everybody's busy and you're alone, you know? And then what do you do? So you have to learn how to kind of meet your own needs and be comfortable with that. And then sometimes you have to learn how to go without sometimes. You know, sometimes all of our needs don't get met all the time, and that's okay too. So, so I don't look at my partners as going, well, I can't get this from this person. And so I didn't get with my other partner because, well, I don't get this from my husband. And so now I need this other person. I got with my other partner because I met him. We connected. We really liked each other. And this is what we wanted to have with each other. And that was it. And I wasn't thinking about my husband. Ooh, now I have this person to give me this. I wasn't even thinking about that. It was just going, hey, this is a person that I like. This is the person that I'm vibing with. And I want to explore that connection.
And I think that's advice that even not even in a poly relationship, like that advice can be applied all around in any relationship, friendships, you know, romantic relationships, poly, like, I just think that is like a great advice.
I tell people that polyamory and non-monogamy, it's just normal relationship principles on steroids. Like, that's what I say. Like, there's literally nothing on steroids. Yeah, because you're adding more people. But like, there's nothing, you might have some situations that are polyamory and non-monogamy specific. Like, a monogamous person is not going to be out to dinner with their husband and their husband's girlfriend and their husband's girlfriend's husband, who you're also trying to date. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a monogamous situation, but is navigating group dynamics and multiple people at one time of something that anybody's going to experience? Absolutely. And so most, you know, non-monogamous principles are just, you know, regular basic relationship principles, just adding more people to it. So it's, you know, it's when you boil it down to brass tacks, it's just basic human relating and navigating complex, you know, human structures. Same thing like you do in families. Same thing like you do at a job that has multiple employees. Like, you know what I mean? It's navigating group dynamics. It's learning to have clear boundaries. It's respecting other people. It's, you know, not having a sense of entitlement to people's time and their, you know, and it's just all of that stuff. You just learn, you're doing that in romantic relationships. It's not something that we generally do.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Nicole Brown is in the chat room. She's saying, working on being the best me for me. Now that's a word. That's what Nicole Brown. Thank you guys in the chat room. That was good. That was good stuff.
Thank you.
Now, that was a word. I done learn some stuff from this.
Yeah, I know, because I'm definitely, I got some like probably work, like as far as like what you said. No,
I got some work. I got some work too.
No, because like you said, like you can't look at it like, you just gotta look at it like the connections. Like you can't look at it like, you know, this person is falling short of this, and you're looking for it here and there and everywhere, because then you're never going to be satisfied.
Right. Never. Yeah. If you're constantly trying to, like I said, you're trying to build this kind of Franken partner, you know, from all these different people that you're going to smash together. Like, you know, you're never going to be satisfied. So I'm more like, do I like this person? Do we have a good connection? Am I fulfilled in this relationship? Do I feel like, you know, my energy is matched and they're, you know, they like me as much as I like them? I'm more concerned about that than, ooh, I can get this from this person and I can get this from that person. I mean, that's an added bonus that I can have experiences with this person that I can't have with this other person. But then I feel like when you're going through it from that aspect, then you're always going to be looking at your other relationships as short. You know what I mean? And going, well, you don't give me this. I agree. You know? And I'm like, no, like what you give me is good. Like, you know what I mean? And if there's something else that I need, then I'm going to task myself with going out there and getting that, but I'm not going to make that about you. I'm just going to accept what you give me with gladness.
So Hope asked, why are you married? Like, why get married if you're open? Like, what?
That's a common question that people, because I wanted to be married. No, that really is it. Like,
she said that's a common question, because I want to be married.
No, really, people ask that a lot. Well, why get married? I'm like, but I think it's because we have marriage and exclusivity as two concepts that are tied, but they're not. They're two completely separate concepts. So for some people, marriage does not mean exclusivity. Marriage to me means this is the person that I said, hey, we want to go through life together with one another. We want to have this kind of relationship with each other. It did not mean we want to go through life, with each other this way, and we're going to forsake all others. Like, that's not marriage to me. Marriage to me means this is my life partner. This is the person I want to go through life with.
Partner.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I'm open to having other life partners. Like, that's not something that I keep only, in my marriage, or this is the only person that I'm going to have that with. But we got married because we wanted to get married, and that's it. You know what I mean? So some people, they want the white dress. Some people, they want to, have someone some people get married for the insurance. There's a variety of reasons. And even in the monogamous community, people get married for a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with love. Like, people get married because they're bored. People get married because, this was the only person that was available. People get married for green cards. I mean, people get married for a variety of reasons. So, and they don't always have to do with love and forsaking all others.
My mother said, more power to you, sister. You're self-assured, self-confident, and appear strong in whatever you choose to do in life. That's an asset most women don't have because they're too afraid of being judged.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Good stuff, Mom.
And Hope said, why? She said, well, what are the benefits of marriage? But I think you answered that when you said, like, you just want to go through life and commitment.
Yeah, this is the person I've chosen to go through life with, and we have for the last 16 years. So, you know what I mean? I love my husband. We have a wonderful relationship.
Years.
16 years. We've been married for 16 years. And he's my best friend, so we, I still, even the interacting with other people, I'm still glad to go to bed with him at night and wake up with him in the morning. We still enjoy each other's company. Like, all of those things are still very much true. It's not like we're just kind of like, this person I sort of kind of am into, but not really.
Right.
And I'm like reserving all of my like passionate feelings for my other partners. Like, absolutely not at all. Like, we love one another very much. I enjoy my relationship. Even my daughter asked me one time, she said, I was going over to one of my partner's house, and she was like, why are you going over there? Are you going over to someone's house? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. She said, why are you going over there? I said, because I like spending time with him. And she was like, do you also like spending time with dad? And I was like, yeah, like, absolutely. And I think if my children you were to ask them if that's true of their parents, they would say that, so just because we have an affinity for other people does not lessen the affinity that we have for each other, just like it doesn't with your friends. It doesn't with your children. It doesn't with your family members. Just because you love your mom doesn't mean you love your dad less. And so this is true for us with our romantic relationships as well.
Interesting.
This conversation has been enlightening.
Yeah, it's definitely therapeutic. I feel like I was in a motivational speaking like conference.
And I hope it opened up some, people just to have, this open conversation and educated,
Right. And even if you decide that non-monogamy,
you know what I'm saying? And I love conversations like this. Even if it helps us understand each other more.
Even if you decide non-monogamy isn't for you, I like being able to show people that it's not as weird as you think it is. Like, you know what I mean? It's just different. It's not good or bad. It's just different. It's just a different way to live.
Right. I agree.
I agree
good
too.
or bad.
And I'm going to leave your contact information just in case somebody doesn't want to come out in the chat. They might want to speak to you more about the poly life and life on how to transition or whatever. So I'm definitely going to leave your link down below in the chat.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
Go with
I
our
do a lot
final
of talking about it. So yeah.
So we usually have a final thoughts. I'm going to say my final thought. My final thought is love who you love. Live your life to the fullness, and it don't care what nobody say, people judging, people looking. You do you, and whatever makes you happy. Live life. Live, laugh, love. That's my final thought for today.
And I can piggyback off that because that's essentially what I'm going to say. Is basically like you got to do you and do what makes you happy. We only have one life to live. And, I just feel like life is short. Like, I feel like I was 10 years old, like last week. I can remember so many memories. And I just feel like, you have to live. You have to do what makes you happy. And you can't live by society standards. Go outside of the box if that's what makes you happy. And don't care what anyone else thinks about you. Stand your ground and not have to explain to nobody and do you. And that's all I have to say.
Amen.
My final thought is question everything. So, there's a great big world out there, and we've been told a lot of things about it, and that may or may not be true for you. And it's okay to question the things that you've been told, because you might learn something new about somebody else. You might learn something new about yourself.
Definitely.
Good
That's
stuff.
so true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for having me on the show. This was great.
We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave your link down below, like I said. And I appreciate all your time and your advice, because I'm definitely going to.
Thank you, chat room. We appreciate you guys. We thank you for joining us. Tune in next Sunday. We will be back live at 5 p.m. We heart you. Like it if you are in the chat room. Like the video if you enjoyed the content. And leave a comment. We heart you. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye. We out.